Hi, this is Jeff Van Patten with the Star Herald. I'm here today with Brock Ehler, the Scottsbluff girls golf coach. Tell me a little bit about talent-wise. How do you think your team compares to last year?
I think we're a little bit stronger as far as our 4 and 5 we're a little bit deeper, and then Emily and Anna have gained experience in the golf course, so a good one too. And then with Nayali Heinhold coming into the picture and just showing her work ethic this summer, she's been real strong, and I think our leadership is just really good in the 4 and 5, and I think we had another 6 and 7 player that really pushed those to practice this summer, so they wanted their spot. So that's really helped. That's the difference maker, where I feel like we've been pretty competitive, but how we could go lower. If we really get it wrong, we can go low.
Do you feel you're a little bit stronger 1 to 5 than you were last year?
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why, the experience, and I think everybody, winning breeds success, and when you're winning championships and stuff, people want to be part of the program, and when you had 7 or 8 girls that would like to be playing varsity, and you got a number of seniors, they know that they got out work and practice more than somebody to make that happen, and so you saw them out there a little bit more this summer, and it made the run for the top 5 stronger, and that's the majority of the reason why we are a little bit better.
And I looked it up too. You guys won 8 of the last 16 last year since 2009 or 2003. That's pretty impressive. Is that?
Yeah.
Do you think that goes to the strength of the program?
Yeah. When you have, you can look at schools as far as going down. Hence, I know they're private, but Omaha Scud or big time. Lincoln East and just schools that have had big time tradition, Omaha Central, and a lot of championships. That part of the reason they're successful is people look into those programs. I know, think of Scottsbluff and all the success they were having in basketball. Kids wanted to play basketball, and it didn't matter if it was in gym class. The kid's not part of that program. They wanted to play basketball all the time, and all of a sudden you start seeing a little bit of football success, and everybody's commitment during the summer gets a little bit more intense, and so winning brings tradition, and so having a chance to win another championship and getting kids involved makes kids spend time at the golf course, and also develop positive relationships with others that they want to hang out with, and that's what it takes to get going.
And this year you guys will be going for the Class B record 9th state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel pretty good about your chances going into it?
Yeah, we do feel good, but again, one thing about golf is there's no defense. I suppose there's some psychological matters that can happen out there, but we use the positives of those to be successful. But without any defense, you play against yourself. And sometimes when people get down themselves, one of the ways we keep going is simple fact that it's a team game. We want to play as a team game, and they'll be able to play as individuals for the rest of their lives. So as a team game, if you're having a tough day, you're scoring 4 of the top 5, and so odds are we're going to need you. And so it gives the relationship is so good, and we have such good team chemistry that if somebody's having a tough day, they still grind because they know their score is probably going to be used, and they get excited. They ask about each other and how they're doing on the golf course, and at the end, when you watch them collaborate, they're sitting together, they're talking, they're laughing, they're smiling, they're talking about their round, and also that comes into part of the success is just the team chemistry.
Yeah, you don't see that with a lot of the team. They just kind of go their own separate ways.
Yeah, an example of, you saw Golden State last year during the year, and when they started to have a few problems within their program, Coach Kerr was disappointed, and he realized the importance of having that chemistry back. And they when it broke down, they were getting arguments. With Durant talking about leaving and stuff, they fell apart, and they started losing games right away with the same team they had. But when Coach Kerr is such a fantastic individual and learned from the best, when he got them playing back together again and getting along, and they got by them their tit for tats, they started winning again, and they proved they were the best team in the NBA. Yeah,
and you told me earlier in the season too how they're all pretty good friends. Is that kind of something you fostered, or it just kind of happened naturally?
Yeah, it's something that has to happen. It just has to happen. If when you first meet somebody, you go and you have a lot of how's the weather conversations, and until you get to that point where you find a common interest, you really never find that relationship. And with golf, the success they have, they realize they're good, and then when they show up to the team, we showed up at the districts and they wanted to play some music really loud, and we rolled in and stuff as we had the later tee times, and everybody recognized us coming in. The girls wanted to do that, but they worked hard and they deserved that opportunity. They're on top. And so they just learn to have a little swag when they show up.
Yeah.
And part of confidence and having that swag and being competitive is what makes you successful.
Yeah, and you guys pretty much dominated all the competition you were in, except for, when you played against Class A schools like North Platte. Are they pretty confident, going into Monument Shadows with, playing at home and with how they performed all season?
I think it's just when you play tougher golf courses or you play, it doesn't matter what the sport is, against tougher competition, and you come down, that just makes you better. So we saw a couple tough weathered events, and then we went to a couple tough courses, and so to fall back to Monument Shadows, I think the girls are sensing a little bit of confidence and feeling good, like they can definitely be very successful. And then going back to play, it doesn't seem like it when we lost a few meets 4 times to North Platte, but if you look at the district meet and stuff, as far as the scares, North Platte's looking is the strongest Class A school as well. So unless they beat themselves, honestly, they have a great shot to win. So with our scores comparable to the rest of the state, I would definitely put us in the top 3 of all class, and maybe even the top 2 with us in North Platte. And we almost clipped them once. We just fell apart with a couple holes to go. I think we had them by a couple shots in Ogallala. And that was just a goal to say, hey, one time we could beat who probably the all-class favorite is. And so we'd sure like to play them at home once or twice and see if we could nip them. But golf around this side of the state is really strong.
Yeah. So was there any disappointment then when they switched from the country club to Monument Shadows?
Yeah. I mean, especially for our seniors, we had 4 seniors on the team. 2 will be playing with us. Another one will be the alternate. And to be part of the country club would be fantastic. I've been playing golf and playing here for so many years. Garion Monument Shadows is a fantastic golf course. It's got fantastic, scenery around. The maintenance of the course is always fantastic. It's really, it's really good. And so there's no heartache in going over there to play. And our kids have played there before. With that said, it was a little disappointing about kind of losing care of the golf course a little bit and letting a couple things happen to Scottsbluff Country Club, just because. And everybody would know Scottsbluff Country Club is just a little bit more of a championship golf course. And what I mean by that is we're playing like we just played McCook. It separates the good from the bad player a little bit more than Garion or Alliance or some of those courses were, just because you're penalized for a bad shot. And whether it be out of bounds or in the trees, you can get away with it a little bit more at Monument Shadows. And we want to play other teams in the championship. We want other teams to be stepping on the tee box and be a little uncomfortable and kind of guide it out there and not just swing freely. And we're comfortable with the courses to be there. So it took away a little bit of home course advantage, and then going to Garion, I think it opens the door for their tee shots a little bit to be other teams to be a little bit more comfortable and not quite get penalized as much. So that would be the only thing. But as far as our community and the maintenance of the golf course at Garion and the beauty, it's fantastic, and anybody that comes here is going to be real happy.
Yeah. So are the girls aware that they're going for the Class B state record this year?
It has been part of our goals. We had a number of goals. Obviously, the first one is to win the state championship, but some of the other goals we have are to compete and shoot some low numbers. We want to compete against ourselves, but always be playing the golf course. So we want low team scores, and our goals so far have been beat the teams by so many shots, and it'll continue to be that way, and not playing the other team just because it's a better mentality. So you don't play in essence like a basketball game. If you're up 8 with 3 minutes and people start stalling and saying, hey, we want 8 passes in this, and you stop attacking a little bit, there's a pro to that, but there's also a con to that. And things can change just because you're trying mentally not to make a mistake. And same way on the golf course, you're saying, we can't let this team beat us. We can't let this team beat us. That's just not the way to attack it. It might be when you're young and you think about it, but that's when you donate shots back, and that's when you beat yourselves. And we don't want to do that. So we're going to play for numbers and as a team, and with some pretty high goals that I have set for them. But you shoot for the moon, for each of stars, that's still okay.
So what's your goal for state?
Well, to win and to convincingly win, it would be our goals, and to meet some of the team scores and have girls have fun and play with confidence, no matter if there's some bad shot happens, to rebound from bad shots. And I think we're doing that. We started at McCook and we had a quintuple. We had a 9 on a par 4 and a triple right away, and all of a sudden we showed it's just 18 numbers that you add up. It's not birdie, bogey. par, double, whatever it is. It's simply 18 numbers in 5 hours. You're going to add them up and see what it is. So, those tough holes happened early, and all of a sudden they came back and had their best rounds of the year.
Yeah, and you got some girls back from last year too. And I mean, your two top ones especially. Do you think that helps too going in? Maybe they won't have those nerves.
Yeah, well,
what to expect.
And a little bit. I think Anna, Kelly, and Emily are both very strong, fantastic leaders by score. Anna's been in these positions because she's a strong athlete.
Yeah.
Anna loves to compete at all the time. I mean, she works out twice a day. She's playing golf all the time. She's working on her academics. She goes and plays basketball in the morning. She's doing a lot of things, and she's been in these adverse situations. Emily, on the other hand, doesn't play as many of the other sports and stuff, and in quite in an athletic way that Anna does. But she's also the hardest worker that I've seen. From the golf course. She grinds, and she's not just out there playing. She's always working on something. And her advantage is she's played a ton of big time tournaments, and she goes to compete against the best. So to see that she's also prepared, just in a different way as Anna's prepared in the big time situation. And Nayali is a great she's actually a really, really good athlete. Pound for pound, she hits the ball as far as anybody in the state and is solid. But she just has got to learn to compete against herself, get comfortable on the golf course, and as she plays other sports and more golf tournaments, she'll get comfortable. It's true that a lot of people don't want to play a golf tournament. They like to play golf, but not a golf tournament, because there's regular golf with your friends, and then there's tournament golf, and some people don't like that pressure of actually playing a tournament golf, and so the more those girls do that or put themselves in adverse situations, like I said, they'll be more successful when when the thing gets going. And that's part of the reason Anna finished so high at state last year, because she's a competitor and she's used to playing in the spotlight.
Yeah. And with Nayeli playing as well as she is as a freshman, do you feel pretty good about the future of the program as well?
Yeah. Just because they're great kids and they show work ethic, and I think some of the concerns you have sometimes, or maybe kids will slip into not playing at sports and making bad decisions, and there's also a relevance to that with the culture of the program, or how their academics are, the people they're hanging out with, and those girls are hanging out with the right people, whether they're together or with their other friends. They enjoy school, they enjoy their teachers, they enjoy taking pride in having good grades, and so when you see that, you're a little less worried about them giving up on the goals that they have for life. And so and they're, like I said, they're lifetime goals, not just seasonal goals. And so I expect all these young ladies to become great citizens of wherever they are someday, just because of their leadership and their work ethic skills and the way they handle adversity.
Yeah, and yesterday, after Scottsbluff won the B10 district title in softball, Dan Fox mentioned, changing the culture there. How big of a difference do you think that makes, having a winning culture like that?
It is. It's huge. Like I said, going back to the Golden State or the top teams, Chicago as a kid, everybody wanted to play for the Bulls. You saw kids in the 1980s and early 90s, everybody had a Chicago, a Bulls jacket, or wanted to be like that, because they wanted to be part of that success. No different than the Lakers or the Boston Celtics back in the day. They wanted to be part of good teams, and so with that comes good team. And also, I had a couple texts. I was talking this morning to Hallie Shattuck. It comes with incredible leadership, and you're going to find as good of a leader for a 4-person as you're ever going to find in kindness and work ethic and all that are involved in everything else. So that's what breaks tradition happen. You'd see it in sports. There was a collaboration in when I coached in Mitchell girls basketball. They enjoyed being in the gym. They were best friends. They enjoyed being together. So when they're best friends, it brought their parents together. When their parents developed to bypass the how's the weather conversation, developed a true relationship of a common interest, they had a relationship, and it was fun. And the kids see that, even if it's not spoken of. They see the positive relationships, and that makes them friends, and they want to do the same thing to be good at. And so all the sports, whether it was volleyball, basketball, track, they were highly successful. And I've seen a lot of good teams have great athletes, but they don't necessarily get along when they're off the floor. On it's a little bit. Their parents are nitpicky about who plays and who does that, and they never reach even close to their ceiling where they'd be successful. And that was culture and not having that family bond.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate being here.
Thank you. This is Jeff Van Patten with the Star Herald. I was speaking today with Scottsbluff girls golf coach Brock Ehler.